Hello everyone, and welcome to this new video tutorial for Maverick Render. On this video we will walk you through the new UV mapping features in our latest release of Maverick Render. Now we can control the UVs of our objects in Maverick from materials directly, and from a new object modifier called UV Map. We will discuss UV mapping at the material level first. We will drop on our objects a UV checker material from the materials library. Since the latest Maverick release, all materials feature a new rollup with options for UV mapping. From here you can control the real size of the maps in the material, as well as how they adapt to the host geometry. By default, UV mapping is set to use the original UVs the objects were imported with. We may change this projection to several built-in modes, such as triplanar. The most important attribute here is the material's real-world size in centimeters. As the name implies, here is where you can set the real size of the material in the scene. This is the first thing that one usually sets when a new material is created. You can see the effect in the scene as the attribute changes. Other classic projections are also available, such as box mapping, planar. With the alignment attribute you can reorient the UV mapping projection in the same way that you would in most 3D content creation apps. The spherical and cylindrical projections are used less frequently at the material level. Generally speaking, we encourage users to pick triplanar mode, as everything tends to work right with no further action, as projection seams are beautifully concealed. The UV mapping rollup also allows you to tile up or down your textures in UV space. This works in each of the axes of the projection. Keep in mind that all the materials in our library come pre-configured in triplanar projection mode, and with a carefully chosen real-world size. So they will always look right on your geometry no matter what, as long as the scale in your scene is right. If for example we apply a leather material to this ball and examine the material's UV mapping settings, we will see that its real size is 30 cm, which we can adjust if needed. Let's try now a marble material, change the projection to box mapping, and learn a bit about triplanar mode. In box mapping mode the UV seams are hard cut and very evident. But if we change to triplanar mode, the seams dissolve, which is why we so strongly recommend that you use triplanar mode. Let's discuss now the second way in which you can control the UVs in your scene, the UV Map Object Modifier. Back in our example scene, we apply a stock UV checker material to our objects. Let's select and create one UV map modifier for each object. When a UV map modifier is created, a gizmo is overlaid on the render, indicating the dimensions and orientation of the projection. This gizmo can be edited with the Move tool. In this case we will change the projection mode to cylindrical and use the Fit to Object action so the projection tightly adapts to our cylinder. The gizmo can be hidden easily from the Objects panel if you feel that it hinders your view of the scene. Now let's select the sphere and create a new UV map modifier. We change the projection mode to spherical, and use Fit to Object again. We do the same for the box, selecting box mapping projection mode. The UV map modifier features the same attributes as the material's UV map rollup that we introduced earlier, plus some more. They are all self-explanatory. Align to camera. Reset. Center. Let's explore now some other more advanced functionalities such as UV map, explode and copy. Let's delete the 3 UV map modifiers we created earlier. And then let's create a single UV map to control the 3 objects together. As you can see now, a single gizmo affects the three objects. We may want to explode this UV map so each object gets its own. To this end we can use the explode action, which will create one modifier per object the original UV map is applied to. We may edit each object individually now. If we select the three UV maps and press the right mouse button, we may center them or use Fit to Object. Now let's explore the action to explode the UV map of a single object. Let's create again one UV map modifier for all the objects, and let's set its real size. Now let's go to one of the objects. Bring up the context menu, and select Make Unique. This will create an individual UV map for this object in particular. In this case we now have one UV map that controls the cylinder, and another one for the rest of objects. Next let's explore the Copy UV map action. Let's create one UV map for the cylinder and another one for the cube. Let's select the cube's UV map and hit Copy to copy the cylinder's UV map. When done we can edit the UV map from its new settings. These are very easy to use functionalities that come real handy at times. Now let's apply some materials and use some more UV map modifiers. Bear in mind that when an object owns a UV map modifier, the modifier overrides the UV map settings of the object's material. We may turn the modifier off in case that we need to let the material's UV map prevail. We can do so with this checkbox here. This may come handy when creating blend materials. Let's keep on creating UV map modifiers. Finally, let's introduce an action to create a modifier with the same settings as the material's UV map. We have here a material applied to our objects in triplanar mode. We may want to create a UV map with the same settings. When we hit the button, we accept the prompt saying that three objects are involved. And then we get a modifier that controls those three objects. We can move it around and explode it if needed. To wrap this video up, we will import a complex scene and practice a bit the concepts that we just learned. This model comes from GrabCAD and features many objects. Let's again start by applying a UV checker material to them all. When in Object UV's projection mode, we can see that each object has its own. Some of the UVs are stretched, some are squeezed, some are rotated, which is a bit of a disaster. Just by switching over to triplanar mode, we make our material be applied homogeneously to all the objects at once. The difference is abysmal. For a one-click action. Now we shall convert to UV Map Modifier. We accept the prompt about the number of affected objects. And here we got a UV Map Modifier that controls all our objects. If we wanted to clone the modifier for a particular object, we would select the object and hit Make Unique. This way the object can be controlled separate from the rest. On this video we walked through the new UVmapping features in Maverick, which are a tremendous addition to our software's arsenal. We encourage you to use triplanar mode in your materials, as this way will you most likely be able to forget about UV mapping in your scenes. This is all for now. See you in the next video. Have fun rendering with Maverick.